Hello, my name is Courtney Harris, and I am a Learning and Development Specialist at Werner Enterprises. It's a transportation and logistics company. To get to where I was, I first started by completing my undergraduate from Kansas State in 2018. I got my degree in Family and Consumer Sciences education. After that, I moved back to the Kansas City area where all my family is and where I've spent most of my life. And I taught in a Blue Valley middle school for 4 years. On my third year is when I decided to go back to school and get my master's in instructional technology, which is what I am working on completing at the moment. My hope is to finish it in July or this upcoming summer. After about 4 years of teaching, I decided that I'm a little burnt out and I'm looking for kind of a change in scenery, in stress level, in tasks. So that is how I have transitioned my career to a learning and development specialist. I only started at this company about 3 months ago, so I'm still learning the ropes of the e-learning industry and being in a corporate position now rather than an educational position. So what I do as a learning and development specialist is I create e-learnings for the corporate side of the business. So at the moment, my list of projects has been to redo soft skills, so things such as effective communication, closing the sale, business conversation skills, conflict management, things like that. So I'm taking those e-learnings, finding content, creating an outline, creating a storyboard, and then creating the actual e-learning to put out to the company on our learning management system. In addition to those projects, I've also been scheduled projects here and there. So what will also happen is a department head will come to me and say that their staff isn't doing this, or they need a refresher on like a certain skill, or they're looking to expand their staff's knowledge. So I will complete a needs analysis and just kind of addressing what the department head is looking for in their learning and what the outcome they want for their staff. And then I will go ahead and create that e-learning for them. I also have additional projects here and there that my supervisor gives to me. So I am just really in kind of a project position and I am really enjoying it so far. Currently, I'm not in a leadership position. As I just said, I just started. So I'm still learning all the ropes and all the information I need to be successful. I'm not exactly sure when I could transfer into a leadership, or like what would the next step be for a leadership position. I do know I don't want to be a manager of any kind. I just want to continue kind of to create those projects because I really enjoy doing that, and I really enjoy being creative and having the time to be creative, really. Just some other information about me is that I moved to Omaha, Nebraska this past summer in June. So I've been living there. So I live there with my boyfriend and our dog Mabel. She is a Cocker Spaniel. She's 3 years old and she is full of personality. She one of her favorite things to do is rub her nose in the snow. So she has been having a lot of fun this week. I enjoy exercising in my free time. I also enjoy reading, and then I also enjoy watching TV. My favorite show is Friends. That's kind of the one I always have on in the background, just kind of as background noise when I'm just needing something, just some noise in the house. One thing I'm really passionate about is learning and finding creative ways for others to learn. So personally, I love expanding the information and my knowledge that I have. Being a grad student has actually been really fun because I'm not only learning from my instructors, but I'm also learning from colleagues across like the country, really. So it's really interesting to see that even though we were all in the education system, how different it could be. And I'm also passionate about finding creative ways for others to learn. As I mentioned, I create those e-learnings, so that is just one way for learners to learn, but within that, I can give information in several different modes so that way it suits all the learners' needs. It can be a little difficult because as teachers we're always told to adjust the learning to the specific needs of the student. However, I've never met the student, so it's interesting for me to kind of figure out and think about like, so not all students learn this way. Okay, so what can I do to ensure that like audio learners are getting the information in an audio version? So it's been really interesting and really fun to tackle that challenge. When it comes to leadership characteristics, one of the good characteristics that I'm always looking for in leaders is clear communication. Just from personal experience, there has been just a lack of communication that has led to a lot of frustration, and I just kind of wish that it wouldn't have happened. For instance, a schedule change. Schedule changes happen, but typically in a school setting, we know well in advance. So if a group of students is taking a field trip, that typically requires a lot of planning to take them off campus. So that is typically known in advance. However, why was I informed the week before it was happening? And so it's just little things like that that do affect me, but there's just no communication on it. Another good quality or characteristic I'm looking for is accountability. I don't expect a leader to be there 24/7 at my beck and call, but I do expect them to help me through situations or help me find the information I need to be successful. I'm also looking for a leader that trusts others. They understand that their staff, employees will get the job done, and they're able to trust them to get the job done without having to micromanage. Lastly, I'm also looking for a leader who listens and considers other people's ideas. A lot of times leaders come from the positions we're in, and while that's awesome that they're able to experience some of the things we're experiencing, some things do change, and policies, processes, things like that, they change. So being able to listen to the employees about those changes and helping them find solutions or ways to make it less stressful, less frustrating for them is one characteristic of a good leader to me. When it comes to bad leaders, it's kind of just the opposite of it all. So one bad characteristic would be kind of a know-it-all. They don't listen to other people's opinions. They don't listen to other people's frustrations. So it would be going back to that leader who is in charge and is like, well, I did this just fine. Why aren't you doing this just fine? Well, things might have changed, like I said. So just someone who is a know-it-all and doesn't listen to other people's ideas, opinions, or perspectives. Another one is a lack of communication. Like I said, just not being clear about what is happening and how it affects me. A bad characteristic would also be rubbing in mistakes or bringing up past mistakes. So, for instance, if an employee makes a mistake and the leader continues to bring it up, even when the mistake was fixed and it hasn't happened since, it just doesn't seem necessary always. So I think back to my evaluations for my first year of teaching. Things from my first year of teaching were brought up later in the years, and I was like, okay, but first year of teaching is different. Have I made that mistake since? Like, I know there's always room for improvement. I totally understand that, but sometimes it's okay just to let things go. And then, like I mentioned earlier, just someone who never listens. I'm looking forward to learning from each and every one of you, and it's great to meet you, and I hope you guys had a great holiday season.